Hey, Andrew Hines here, and I just wanted to take a moment to preface today's episode, which was super cool. Just finished recording it, and I always like to go back and do these intros after, and I'm realizing it's better to do it right after because the gold, the takeaways are unbelievable. So I had Sami Khan on the show today, and Sami is only 25 years old. I could barely remember his age because he's so busy, just absolutely crushing it. With some simple math, I've worked it out that Sami is making approximately $16,000 a month net from his Airbnb activities. Sami has, he says, 8 Airbnbs currently. Most of them are not his. He's actually renting them from owners and then re-renting his properties on Airbnb. This guy is nothing but hustle, but he also talks about how to systemize what he's doing. His return on investment on one of his projects, we go through a little bit of a case study. It is insane. This guy's getting 12 times his investment back in the course of a year. So we can't calculate it as a percentage. It's how many times has he doubled, tripled, quadrupled his money. Really, really cool, really fresh. I've been super excited about this episode because it's different. I read up on this topic not too long ago. I read a guy's entire blog about this topic, Airbnb arbitrage. So really impressive guy. We're going to hear his story today, and I'm hoping that the takeaway that you get is that there's always more where that came from. There's always a free hour in the day. There's always time to take on something. If you're ready to hustle, you can get it done. Super, super excited about this one. Really hope you enjoy. Please share this episode if you enjoy it. Please also leave me a 5-star rating and a review so that we can help more people hear this podcast, unite more real estate investors, and spread the word. Really appreciate it. And without further ado, here is the episode. This is episode number 9 with Sami Khan. Hello and welcome to the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. Today I have a very special guest on the show, Sami Khan. Sami is a real estate investor at a pretty young age. He reached out to me on Instagram and had a really cool story, which is super unique. Sami has gotten into something that I think is best described as Airbnb arbitrage, where he has approached property owners and managed to rent out their properties from them and then Airbnb those units out. This is something that I actually learned about probably about a half of a year ago, that people were doing this, and it just like totally engaged me. And I read this guy's entire blog. It was like 100 posts. So interesting. So Sami, I'm going to have tons of questions for you. First off, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andrew, for inviting me to your show. And it's a pleasure for me to joining you at the show.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for taking the time. So first off, Sami, I just wanted to get you to just tell me and tell our listeners and watchers, viewers, a little bit about yourself. What's your story? What do you do?
I do Airbnb arbitrage, as you said. I started with doing Airbnb with people's places. And then when I saw the cash flow being so much, I was like, okay, there has to be a real estate aspect to it. I'm paying rent, and why can't I not save this and put it in my pocket also, right? So that's what got me turning, right? So the beginning was one day I took an Airbnb I was traveling to a place. I took an Airbnb. I really liked the experience. This was in Montreal. I'm based in Ottawa. And when I had that experience, I'm like, okay, there is like, I'm always thinking about making an extra source of income, right? So I'm like, this is an avenue that I can get into and maybe I can make a quick buck, right? So it started off as a quick buck, then I could be able to scale it was the best part, right? Like every business is good, but whenever you can scale a business, that's where you start making the money, right? Because one unit is going to give me a certain amount of money, but when it comes to scaling, I'm going to multiply that certain times an X, right? So that's where I got started.
So to just recap, so you just went out and you rented somebody's Airbnb, and
correct,
you rented from somebody else, and then was your next step to buy your own property and rent that out on Airbnb?
So that was, before that, there was a little bit testing phase. My friend owned a condo in downtown Ottawa, and he had a 2-bedroom. And surprisingly, his brother was out for, what is it called? It was summer at that time, around like September, or I think September, mid-September. and his brother left the country for a month or so. And I asked him, like, let's try this out. We're going to lock everything that's valuable in your room, and then we're going to rent one of the rooms out. And once we rented one of the rooms out, we were getting booked every freaking day. So after the 1 bedroom, we moved it to a 2 bedroom, saying, I'm like, yo, come move into my place. Let's rent both the bedrooms out and then take it from there. At that point, we didn't ask for like the landlord's permission and stuff like that, because we
Yeah.
didn't know what we were doing. We were just testing the system out. But like, the fact that we got fully booked for that month in like 3 or 4 days, it was like, wow.
So you were just renting out single bedrooms on Airbnb and
Correct.
making money from that.
Yeah, private bedroom.
So your friend had just gone away. You just decided, hey, let's try it out. Okay, there's a market for this.
Yes.
Okay.
So that market validation is what I started with.
So you just wanted to validate, hey, there is demand for this. And I've been thinking about that same thing where I am, because, and maybe you can shed some light on this, because where I am, it's not Toronto, downtown, right? Toronto downtown. And I think you're involved downtown Toronto.
Correct, yeah.
As well. But it's obviously a huge tourist hub, huge business hub. I'm in Burlington, which is about 45 minutes outside of Toronto. It's on the transit line, but my question is, would you see a market like mine? I'm right next door to Hamilton. Would that be a market that would have demand for this type of thing, or was that all testing? You just got to test it.
So it's obviously, at the end of the day, you want to do testing and market validation, but there are ways you can like find out. Like, for example, it's not always about tourist attractions. So one of my students that are down in what is it called? I believe Tampa Bay. There's no tourist attractions over there, but what they have is they have a what is called sports school. It's like, I think IMG, or it's something called, like, I forgot the name. And what he does is all the people who come there are like the parents of people whose children are going to the sports school, right? So it's a different niche market he just hit over there, whereas I hit a different niche market, right? So at the end of the day, I would look into like not only tourist attractions, I would look into things like, what is it called? Is there any schools nearby? Like something like Kingston is big also, right? Like a lot of people say, oh, Kingston's small town and stuff like that. One, I see a lot of people investing in what is it called? Real estate in Kingston right now. And it's going to blow up. There's skyscrapers going up in Kingston. So that's one place to get into right now if you're in the real estate market.
I almost feel like I've missed the boat on Kingston. I know not in reality, but I mean, Kingston is up a lot, as is everything right now.
So, and I would just do market validation and look into things like schools, tourist attractions, what else I can think of. Just in general, like, why would people come to there? Like,
sorry, are you getting students in some of yours? Like your Airbnbs, you are getting students renting them?
I have students, like one person who rented in one of my Airbnbs rented it for at least a month and a half. And his reasoning was he lives in New York City and he's a firefighter there and he wants to move to Ottawa. I called him up and I'm like, hey man, like, thanks for booking your, my Airbnb. What was the reasoning, right? I'm like, it's like that. He told me his reasoning and I'm like, are you sure you want to come down to this -40 weather over here from New York? I know it's not better in New York, but he's like, yeah, man, I love Ottawa. I went to school over there and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, you know what?
So, I mean, with students though, why wouldn't they just go rent, from a regular student rental on a 12-month lease or 8-month lease if their landlord will let them?
Perfect. Yeah. So sometimes students come with 4 months and it's pretty hard to get 4 months leases in Ottawa. That's the thing, right? So some people come here for maybe not even the full 4 months, right? So I had a student that was only coming Monday. He was from, I think, Niagara Falls. He came only Monday to Thursday because he had classes 4 days and he used to leave and come back. It was a wreck for him, like that he has to drive all the way and come back all the way. But like, he liked that, right? He was paying only for 4 days. If you do the math, like 4 times, it's still actually more expensive. But I guess you get a fully furnished place and you get, everything like all inclusive, right? Fully stocked kitchen. You don't have to buy the utensils and stuff.
Yeah. So he would come to you for 4 days out of the week. And so every week he was renting from you for 4 days. Correct. And did you have somebody in on the other 3 days? Did you get people?
So it was perfect for me because he was from here from Monday to Thursday and Friday to Sunday. The Sundays were a little tough, but like Friday, Saturday is always booked.
Friday to Saturday. So this is in Ottawa, maybe closer to the downtown. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And was the whole place sort of set up as a student rental and you were renting it room by room, or was it?
No. It was set up just a full studio apartment.
Just a studio apartment. Okay. So you have no problem renting during the weekends. It worked out really well for him, worked out really well for you. Can you give me some numbers on that just to kind of put this in perspective? Like, first off, what were you able to generate with that arrangement on average, the average week with your Airbnb? How much money were you able to generate gross?
So something to keep into consideration with Airbnb is January, February, March are the slowest months in Airbnb. That's my experience in
Hmm.
Canada and Ottawa, but it progressively gets better and better till December, and then it drops again, right? So like to give you average numbers, if I take the whole year on average, I could say I was making anywhere from minimum 2,800 to all the way to 4,500, sometimes 5,000, depending on what
Okay.
what is it called, like for example July 1st is an exceptional day, right? December 31st,
Okay.
and those days you can make anywhere from 250, 350, 450, depending on what you
Hmm.
want to price it at, right? So that's right over there. If you think about it, if I rented one place for 3 days for 350, that's $1,000 extra, right?
Wow.
So it's totally depending on how you want to set it up, and if you have to be always on the ball game. It's not a business where you set it up and you're like, okay, see you,
Hmm.
I'll see you guys in a week. No, you have to always be, you have to make sure the guests are checking in properly. If not, you have to
Yeah.
hire somebody. um, and on top of that, what is it called, you need to be very vigilant with the prices. You can't just trust Airbnb's pricing system, because they will lower your price all the time. They don't mind.
Do you use a tool? Yeah, that's a great point. Airbnb is in it for themselves
Correct.
for people listening, because I've done the research on this. They will lower the prices because to Airbnb, they don't care if you make 20, $30 less.
Yeah.
They just want to get the rent. They want to get it rented because it looks better on them. It helps satisfy the people who are looking to rent.
Yeah.
And of course, they're still getting paid even if it's marginally less. It's still better for them than not being rented.
Correct.
Uh,
Yeah, their services because they search service fees on the host side and also on the guest side. So you got to take that into consideration, right?
mhm.
So I don't know the exact numbers on the guest, the percentage, but on the host side, they charge 3 to 5%
Okay.
off your day's rent. Sorry, no, off the payout. So they charge 3 to 5% of the payout, and on the guest side, they charge a significantly more amount, obviously 10 to 15%. So
Wow. So yeah, so they're obviously making quite a bit. Yeah, so that would be like in the research I did, it was don't trust Airbnb to set your pricing, set your own pricing. Now, do you
correct.
have some sort of app or plugin that you're using to allow you to do that?
So I used to do it before. I used to use like AirDNA and all these
Yeah.
applications before, but like there's nothing better than you doing it yourself. Like I just, what is it called, go 3 months ahead. I look at the
Yeah.
significant dates. So what I started doing is I started making a calendar where I write down the significant dates
Hmm.
where the prices should peak, right? Like for example, what's today? St. Patty's Day. Is it today or tomorrow? Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow is, yeah.
Tomorrow. So St. Patty's Day, right? It is a Sunday and it is gonna be low, but like think about it, the people who are gonna be coming in for St. Patty's Day into Ottawa or wherever, like for example, someplace like Kingston where people love to party,
Hmm.
what is it called? On the St. Patty's Day, people will be coming in, right? So people will be coming in on Friday, they're gonna stay Saturday, party, and Sunday, right? So that's not the exact kind of demographic you want to always attract, is like people who are partying, because you don't want them to
Yeah.
crash your place. But if you price it properly and you know how to look for the right customers, like that's one issue that I had when I started, was not getting the right customers. People were like leaving the place like no, not nice, they were dirty and stuff like that, towels all over the place. So that's something that once you get in the flow and you start keeping doing it, you get a feel of it. Like when a guest books with me, like for me, with 5 minutes of research and looking at what their old reviews are, and when they join the Airbnb, I kind of have an idea of what kind of guest he will be.
Yeah. And that's interesting. I've heard so many strategies with Airbnb reviews. Like
Mhm.
if you're a person, if you're a person who wants to rent and you're leaving other landlords negative reviews,
Correct.
like future hosts can go back and see what you've said about other people and be like, well, I obviously don't want that guy.
There
You
we
know,
go. Right.
you know
So
that guy's not respectful or clearly seems a little bit antagonistic or whatever. So you can definitely do that. Now, I've heard people, and we're going to dig back into the numbers in a second, but I've heard
okay.
people say that the best thing to do is to just do auto book, leave auto book on. What are your thoughts on that?
So I do have instant book on, right?
Yeah.
But I have instant book on with the note with what is called. Sometimes I do a screening, meaning like once they book with me, what I do is I take their phone number, I check it, I reverse search it on Google, right? So if they're up to something shady or something like that, they can break stuff, it will come back. Or like you can always, what this is a new hack that I came up with,
Mhm.
was I save their number, then I go to WhatsApp, and you can see their picture, right? So that
Okay.
you can see their picture on a, what is it called, Airbnb, but it's like me going to LinkedIn and looking for your picture. You're gonna obviously have a professional picture there, right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna have like a picture that you don't like. So those are some due diligence you have to start doing as a guest, or as a host, if you want to
Yeah.
make sure that you get the right guests. But yeah, you can, what is it called, have instant book on, and I prefer to have instant book on all the time, just
Yeah.
because when you have instant book on, you show up more on the what is it called, search tier. So if I search
Yeah.
Ottawa, my listing is going to show up. So
Right. It's a risk, but from what I've heard from people who are serious about Airbnb, is it's a way to make yourself a lot more profitable.
100%.
So
And
you just reserve the right to cancel them. Is that basically what you're doing?
so there's no reserve to write, but there are ways you like, once you're in the business for long, like you can like find ways, and there's loopholes that you can use to like
Yeah.
cancel the, what is it called, thing, sorry,
Cancel the
reservation
reservation. Yeah.
reservation without losing your, what is it called, superhost status. So superhost
Okay.
status is something very huge in Airbnb, and if you have it, you're golden. But and if you cancel on a guest, you lose it. So
Oh, so yeah, I've never achieved that. So my fiance has done some Airbnb,
okay.
but she never had that. But it does show up if you cancel somebody, right?
Correct, yeah.
So you don't want that. You never want to show future potential guests that you're canceling people, because it shows us a blotch. Does that
You
still
got it.
happen even though you're on Superhost? They still see that you've canceled somebody?
No, so like I have basically never canceled without a reason, or
Okay.
I've found a way to make sure it doesn't show up like that.
Oh,
So
okay.
like those are things that you learn from experience. But in the beginning, I didn't have bad guests. I'll be honest with you, I got lucky, so I
Yeah.
never had to cancel or do anything. But later, and as you know, when you scale, you find different kinds of people and you meet different kinds of people, and there are some times I had to cancel here and there, but you find a workaround, right? It's like in real estate also, you got to
Okay.
make sure you're set up properly so that you don't have to like, I would trying to find like an analogy I can think of. If it comes to me, I'll tell you.
Okay,
But
no
yeah.
problem. So I want to dig back into the numbers to put this in perspective, because I know we just kind of dove right in. You said that you were anywhere from 2,800 to 5,000 on that
Correct.
studio apartment. Is that correct?
Mhm.
So
Correct.
if you had to average that out over a year, where do you think you are approximately?
So I like in the total.
No, like an average month, right? So 2,800 is your low and
Yeah.
5,000 is your high. What's
Yeah.
your average month if you
I
were
would
to?
say like 35 to 4,000.
So we'll call it 3,750 on
Yeah.
average, maybe.
Yeah. So it
Uh,
depends. It also depends on what is it called? What are you offering, right? If you're doing a luxury condo or you're doing like a regular condo, right?
yeah.
Those are the things that affect the price for sure, and that's going to affect your monthly income, right?
Hmm.
Like
Would
on
you?
a luxury condo, you can maybe make 6 grand a month, or sorry, 5 grand a month every month, just because it's luxury, right? And think about it: 5 grand divided by how many bookings? If you're booking for $400, let's do the math over here. Let me just get the calculator. 5,000 divided by 400, that means you only need 12.5 days booked, right?
Mhm.
So it's all like they're very dependent on what kind of unit size you have, what kind of people you're looking for.
Yeah.
So even if I have 15 days empty in my luxury condo, I'm still going to make 5 grand.
Yeah. Is yours luxury, the studio apartment?
I have some luxury, I have some non-luxury,
Yeah.
but I'm not hitting the top end luxury.
You're like a mid-tier
Yeah,
luxury? Okay.
correct. Yeah,
Would you call this a mid-tier luxury, this studio that you
yeah,
were talking about?
correct.
Okay, so sort of a mid-tier luxury, and you're getting approximately 3,750 a month gross,
Mhm.
including vacancy. So we're factoring what is your average occupancy across the year, percentage-wise?
So anywhere from 27 days per month, I would say 27 to max, like 31 days or 30 days, whatever. But like 27, so I would say around 90% for sure.
So you're about 90%
Yeah,
occupied at the way you price. Okay.
yeah,
And you're just a strategic pricer. You
correct.
price it where you know it's going to rent, and that's what you're able to achieve. Okay. So you're
Yeah.
getting on average 3750.
Mhm.
And I'm just trying to simplify this so we can illustrate it. If you want to explain it a different way
Okay.
afterwards, by all means. Okay. So 3750 gross rent. What are your expenses on that? Airbnb specifically, just what are your expenses
Oh,
on
just
that?
don't like when you say expenses, like cleaning fees you're talking about, or you're
Well, you're
talking.
going to have renting fees. They're charging you a fee.
Yeah.
So out of 3750 a month, you're paying them $100 or $200 out of that. What do you think?
Oh, you mean like my total monthly expenses? That's what you're asking, correct?
Oh, well, I was just asking specifically what you're paying Airbnb.
Oh,
The
Airbnb would be 3 to 5% of that payout.
Okay, so let's just say
I don't know
4%,
the exact. Yeah, I would say 4%.
37.50. So about 150 bucks. So
Yeah.
you're about 150 bucks a month to Airbnb and fees.
Right.
Okay, and then you've got cleaning fees, right? That's probably the next big item, is it not?
Yeah. So cleaning fees is like when you first start off, I would recommend 100% to start doing it yourself. And then slowly, once you scale, get a cleaner. I
Yeah,
wouldn't get a cleaner if you're doing it yourself just because it's going to cut into a lot of your, what is it called?
your
The
profits.
profits, right?
Hmm.
So the cleaning fees is totally dependent. It's I charge 35. Some people charge 50. Some people charge more cleaning fees last night, right? So it,
Okay,
it's totally up to them. But the thing is, the cleaning fees you can only charge it once, right? So you got to be
right.
very vigilant about it, right? If somebody booked for 1 month at $50 and you charge them $100 cleaning fees, then you're like, what's happening over here, right?
Hmm.
So there's other ways to go around it, meaning like you can say a minimum 2-day booking, maximum 4-day booking, and that way
Right,
they can book for then more than 4 days. And if you're happy with 4 days with $100, that works out, right? 25
right.
a day for cleaning, but like you don't have to clean the
Hmm.
place every day, right?
Does that 37.50 that you told me, does that
That's
include cleaning?
that's including their cleaning fees. So and
Okay,
that's an average, right? So
right.
depending.
Okay, so in a month you might have 15 different guests on average, would you say?
Yeah, depends. Let me just see one of my calendars to give you a perspective.
Yeah.
Like one of my apartments I just opened this month, and I'm booked till the 21st.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. I have only 5 guests,
Five guests in that one.
and
So,
that's booked till the 21st.
okay, what do you think a normal scenario would be? Would it be five or maybe 10 guests then?
Yeah, 10. Sometimes like a lot. I'm not gonna lie. If you get like one day,
Yeah, yeah.
but
So
like
it could be 15 or
yeah, it could
20.
be or 20.
Um,
Yeah. So it's
yes.
all dependent, right?
So across the year for this studio that we're referring to, would you say maybe 15 is a good average to take
Yeah,
there?
15 is good average to take.
Okay, so 15 times, what's your cost on the cleaning? Like, say
35.
yeah, it's 35. Okay.
But I don't pay the cleaner 35. I charge 35, but I pay him like around 25 because I scaled it, so he has more places to do.
Okay, so let's say 25 because yeah, your profit's your profit. That's great. So 25 times 15. So you're paying 375 a month in cleaning
Correct.
ish.
Mm-hmm.
Now this studio, is this one that you owned or is this one that you've been renting out from somebody
This
else?
one I'm renting out, yeah.
Are you paying utilities?
No, it's all inclusive.
All inclusive. Okay, so what is your monthly rent on this studio?
$1,200.
$1,200 per month. Rent. So you're renting from somebody, a landlord that you found for $1,200 a month inclusive, which is insane.
Okay.
That this is really starting to look amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just calculate. So you're 3,500 gross in or 3,750 gross income minus 150 a month in fees to Airbnb minus 375 in cleaning, and then minus 1,200 for rent. That leaves $2,025 left over. Now, do
Right.
you have any other expenses that you're paying out of that?
Extra expenses I would say would be what is it called? Buying like the soap and stuff like that.
Okay.
Uh, to make sure everything's running, like the perishables,
Okay.
because towels, bed sheets and stuff like that, they're all, you're going to use the same ones. If you have 3 sets, you're just going to rotate them. But soap, kitchen soap, like I give coffee, sometimes
Yeah.
breakfast. Yes. So I would give another $150 just to buffer it up nicely.
Okay. So another 150 a month.
Yeah.
So then we'll subtract 150 a month for perishables, soaps, coffees,
Right.
things that you need to refresh. So
Yeah.
you're netting on this property, it looks like about 1875 a month. So
Right.
1,875 on average.
Perfect. Yeah, that's on average. That's also taking into consideration I'm not cleaning. So sometimes when I
Yeah.
have to clean, if the what is called person calls in sick, or if the other person is not cleaning, so you're making that extra $25 times whatever you want to do it, right?
Okay, so how much of your time would you say that this is true arbitrage? How
Yeah.
much of your time is this taking?
Time is like you gotta be, like this is how I see it. Like somebody can be like, oh, I have to always be aware of the Airbnb listing, so you can say 24/7. Or if you're like really know how to automate it, like for me, for example, I would say it takes me whenever the guest messages me, 5 minutes, and when I have to help him with the check-in, another 30 minutes max. And these are high estimates I'm giving you, just so
Yeah.
that people don't be like, oh, he says 5 minutes and it's actually not 5 minutes, but
Yeah.
35 minutes, and that's about it, right? Like, you just need to make sure the guest knows what he's booking, and number two is he's what is called checking it properly.
Right.
And I guess the cleaners and stuff, I would give it maybe an hour or two, but that's only in saying that that 2 hours is on the phone, so you can do anything else on the side while you're doing this, right?
Right. So you've got about so every month you've got how many hours into that one Airbnb, would you say?
Yeah. I can't, like, I haven't calculated that, so I don't have an estimated time, but
Maybe
the
5 hours, you think?
35, yeah,
Five? Oh, 35
I say an hour a day, a little extra here and there. Yeah, I would say
per
35.
property or across all your properties? Like an
So
hour
now
a day.
it's easier, right, to scale. Once you scale, it's easier, right? So
Right.
because you know everything, how it's working. So
Right.
I would say like 40, like I'll estimate a little high just because I don't want to estimate too low.
Mhm.
I would say like 40 hours to 60 hours per month.
Per month spent on all your Airbnb
Of
activities.
actually.
Okay. And to put that in perspective, you have how many active Airbnbs right
Right
now?
now I have 8.
8 active. So obviously there's a scaling effect here. Now,
Mhm.
are all of your Airbnbs that profitable as the one we just did a case study on?
Uh, yeah, I would say 6 out of 8 would be, and some of them are like blowing the numbers depending on location, right?
Yeah.
So, but in terms of profit margins, yeah, around 2,000 is what I would look for. Like the lowest month, if you have a shitty month, I would say you would still make $1,200
Okay. So
profit.
on the studio that we were
Yeah,
talking about.
that's like you don't care. You're not vigilant about the
Yeah.
prices. Yes, asked to book in, and you forgot to message him back saying like this is the setup and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's having like the worst month.
So the key thing here, I think, so I mean, if we're just looking at it, you have 8 times 2,000. People can do that math. I mean, that looks like $16,000 of net profit on these, and this is cash flowing profit. Now, some of these Airbnbs you actually own,
Correct.
but most, I believe, you have actually just
I
rented out
find
from other
people.
people.
Correct.
That's incredible. So we're talking $16,000 net profit from your Airbnb activities, plus you own student rentals you've told me about.
Yes.
That are just purpose student rentals, and then also you work a job.
Yes.
So
Keeping busy, right?
you sound like a busy guy, Sammy. Um, this Airbnb thing to me is just fascinating. It's clear that you're hustling. You're obviously putting your time to good use,
Thank you.
which definitely impressive. That's why when I heard your story, I wanted to have you on here because I think a lot of people are working a full-time job and they're like, well, no, I don't have time for that.
Don't get me wrong. There's a huge lift. Like when I gave you the 60 hours, that's all when it's all set up and nice, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of a big lift when you go to set it up. Like for example, I have gone to a point where I can, what is it called, set up an Airbnb in less than 2 days. Sometimes
Right.
even in 24 hours if everything's prepped.
Mhm.
But when I say 2 days, that means 2 days of full 12 hours of work.
Yeah. So
It's not
you're
gonna,
willing.
yeah, you got to be willing to put in the work in the
Yeah.
beginning for it to pay out over the, like, whatever furniture I bought, whatever things I bought to set up my Airbnb, I got it back right in the first month, right? So
That's my next question because I've heard people estimate setting up an Airbnb to cost somewhere around $7,000 in Canada, maybe more like 10 because our dollar doesn't go quite as far.
wow.
For you, you've obviously got an angle here. So why don't you tell me about what you're investing when you find a landlord that
Right.
says, yes, Sammy, you can rent my property from me and then re-rent it on Airbnb. You have my permission. What's your next step? How much are you investing?
So when it comes to investment, you got to be very smart about it, right? You got to either one be like I would say is like there's things like Kijiji, there's things you don't have to buy everything brand new. Like the things that I would recommend buying brand new is a mattress, right? You don't have to buy a bed frame brand new. Like
Hmm.
things like that, you got to be like a little bit vigilant about, and you got to be looking into stuff before starting it. Like for example, today is the 16th of March, right? And I signed a lease with a landlord, and he's like, you can start from next month. I'm going to start shopping right now, right?
Right.
So you can either go high end and you can spend a lot of money, or you can go low end and spend less money and it may break. or you can go mid-tier and find good
Mm.
deals, right? So a little bit background on myself. When I was young, I used to always like buy things on Kijiji for cheaper and sell it for higher, right? So I had that inside me already, that mentality of buy low, sell high, just like the stock market.
Yeah.
But that's basically what I use. But you can always, even buying brand new, let's be honest, how expensive should it be? If you break down the numbers a little bit, a bed, like I have a guy who gives me bed mattresses for cheap. So I get it
Brand new or used?
brand new.
Okay.
So like if I started writing down some of the numbers, just the mattress would cost you anywhere from $350. That's the high end. That's
Is
like
this a queen mattress?
queen mattress, pillow top, 3 inches or 4 inches. Like the top end.
Just
That
the mattress? This is
just
not
the
box spring. Yeah. Okay.
no, not the box spring. The box spring
Yeah.
is only $50 extra, so it's cheaper.
Dude, you got to hook me up with your mattress
Okay,
guy.
he's based in what is it called, Toronto. Also, like he has
Yeah.
warehouses all over the place, so he has less overhead. So I will give you that number for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. That's great.
So 350 for the mattress. Let's look, a bed frame is $100 to 150. Like not brand new though. Again,
Mhm.
you can go to like, it's depends on the times, right? Sometimes I
Yeah.
do buy things beforehand, like for my student rentals. I buy when students are leaving, so you get cheaper prices, right?
So you'll
So
buy frames from students leaving. That's actually genius,
yeah,
because right around April 30th here, that's when the school year is ending. Students are moving out. They throw gold away on the curb, like
you
just
got
things
it.
like they're just too lazy to take it home. They don't care. They don't realize what they're even throwing away. So yeah, just be out there with the trailer, man. That's profitable.
That's it. Yeah. So like that's it. And like if you really want to look for a business model, that's obviously a
Yeah.
business model. You can buy low over there and just sell the bed frames. Just wait for it in the market and sell it for 150, 200, right?
Yeah. So
So
there's a kid. So my fiance, she has a show with her mom called 30 Minutes to Wealth. And
okay.
they interviewed a kid, 16 years old. He's just buying his third property at 16,
Wow.
not even old enough to qualify for a mortgage. And he saved up his down payments by going out and collecting all the furniture that students would leave, and then he'd resell it to them in September. He'd just start and resell it to them in September.
Crazy, man. Like the
Yeah.
business model right there, like how much money you can make, right?
Well, it's hustle though, right? Like
That's
this is not easy. Like you said, like you have to you're willing to put in those 12-hour days, and there's clearly something driving you to do this, because I think a lot of people sometimes think it's just easier to watch Netflix than it is to go
yeah.
out and hustle. So what is it? I mean, I know you're going through some numbers, but what is it that's driving you to do this?
So for me, like it's a very weird story, like how it started with, like, because I'm not from Canada. I moved to Canada when I was 17, and while I was growing up, like don't get me wrong, I don't come from like a very wealthy family and stuff like
Mhm.
that. When I was back home, yes, we had, like, where I come from, we have like servants, drivers, and everything. Like you
Mhm.
live the lavish lifestyle over there, but when you come here, the dollar value to what we make over there is not that much, right? So
Right.
when I came here as a student, my father and my mom sent me some money, but I used to look at the conversions. So that's what it started. Like I was converting $1 equals to 70 taka, which is like a lot more money back home. But when you do the conversion the opposite way,
Mhm.
is nothing, right? So I used to convert like what I can buy there for the money to buy what I can buy over here, right? And that kind of got me started, right? So I moved to Canada. I was living with my brother, and my brother gave me like $5 or $10, and he's like, "Here you go, Sammy. Here's $10 if you need anything." And this is me in high school, right? He's like,
Right.
"If you need anything, let me know. If not, just what is it called? I'm always here for you, right?" So he gave me $10, and there was always food in the house. Like he always used to take what is it called, the groceries, and he used to make sure there's always food. So I would never have to like spend money. So I used to always like pack my lunch and stuff like that and go to school. And one day my friends were like, "Okay, let's go. We're gonna go buy some clothes, right?" So I was like, "Okay, you know what? I'm interested in buying some jeans." I go to buy some jeans, and I have $10 in my pocket, right? So $10 is a lot of money back home, and 10
Right.
700 taka. Whereas I could buy 3 pairs of jeans over here. $10. If you're really going for a good deal, you'll get it. Don't get me wrong. I bought jeans for $10, but like, let's be honest. Denim jeans started anywhere from 50 at least to 150, right?
$100. Yeah, easy. Yeah,
Easy, right?
easy.
So that feeling that I got, it's not like I blame my brother for it. I really appreciate that he did that to me, so that I actually understood the value of money, or the dollar, basically.
Mhm.
That I never wanted to see that day back. And like the next thing I did is I got myself a job after that. I started becoming more independent. I
Right.
started taking care of my own financials, and just it just built up from there. And there, just like I feel like that one hit in me
Mhm.
was what just drove me. And like I always had aspirations of like financial freedom, but like when you're young, when you're 16, financial freedom is not the same as when you're 25 or 26, right? It's a different aspect of it because you went through the 10 years and you understand that you got to work all your life, right, to pay for your bills and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's that mostly drives me. Like I want to work and do things that I like instead of doing things that I don't like.
Yeah, I always thought the right combination is not to do nothing, because no one wants to do nothing. I mean, when I tell people that, my goal is to be, financial freedom, so I just never need to do anything.
Yeah,
And they're like, "Oh, but why would you want to do nothing?" Well, no, it's not that I want to do nothing. I want to do it on my terms, right?
there we
Work
go.
because you choose to.
No,
Work,
no,
you're choosing to work. That's almost entertaining. Like when you get a deal done, how good does it feel when you just like
it feels
crush a
good.
deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't describe that. Yeah, that feeling when when I sold a property in my company, I would renovate these properties and sell them.
Mhm.
And one property I had was just insanely profitable. I think that the final number was like $140,000.
Wow.
When that deal fully materialized and it was done, I was like, whoa,
Well,
what a great feeling, right? And even just signing it, when I got that deal, I knew I got it like 70K below market. And like that's just a
wow.
thrill to people, right? I don't know if you can relate to that, if
No,
it
no.
kind of feels the same.
100%. Like at a point, like for me, like sometimes I hit that low where it's like making money is good and like you enjoy it, but like at a point you're gonna be like, yeah, like how much money are you gonna make, right? Like at the point you're gonna be like, I really need to enjoy it. Like the fact that you
Mhm.
like it, you get the thrill. It's like adrenaline rush. Like for me, like I love cars, and like I like to drive a little fast over the speed limit. I'm not gonna lie. I hope no cops are listening to this, but
Yeah, they'll have
what
to
is it
catch you.
called? I hope they don't know my plates. So we should be fine. But
Yeah,
what is it called? That adrenaline rush that you get from what you said, closing your deals. For me, like for example, the end of the month, maybe some paycheck, or like me actually going
yeah,
and doing the work, right? Me doing the work is like different. Like a lot of people will not be willing to doing the work. Like some of my friends, one stop talking to me because they're thinking like you're too motivated, and some is like it's too much work for me. Like I'm not gonna do it, Sammy. Do you like? And I'm like that's fine with me, right? A lot of people don't have the
yeah,
same drive, they don't have the same willingness, they like their job. Like don't get me wrong, that's their thrill maybe, right? So I don't want to like put anybody down or up is or myself up. I just see like whatever drives you and whatever makes
yeah.
you happy.
You ever heard that quote? You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
100%, yes.
You're either going to attract or repel with what you're doing, right? I mean, if you're really a go-getter, it makes people who don't want to go get feel uncomfortable. These are just my life observations, because I used to like just read book after book
Mm-hmm.
or audiobook. I'm kind of a faster listener than I am a reader, but yeah, I would just listen to these books, read these books, and the thing I started to see is that it really is who you surround yourself with, both in influences what you're reading, who you're, people you're spending your time with. Those dictate how you become, right? You kind of just merge into their average, right? So if I was hanging around with five millionaires, multimillionaires, like real estate investors,
Yeah,
they pull me up. And that's why I always try and surround myself with people that are just crushing it, because it helps me to do the same. And one of the things I love about this podcast is I get somebody like you who shows hustle. It reminds me that I got that in me and that I can go out and make it happen. It's great, man. I
100%.
appreciate your story.
No worries, man. Yeah, that's what I would say. Just what is it called? You gotta hustle. You gotta put in the work, and the average is 100%, man. Like, it's very like it's shown. Like, if I had friends that used to like pull me up, and I had friends that used to pull me
Mhm.
down, right? And once I started like moving away from those friends, I just saw my work ethic going to like skyrocket, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not holding yourself back. It's like them not inviting you to places that you don't need to, like going out drinking all the time. Like if
Yeah.
somebody goes out drinking 7 days a week and that's not in your agenda, obviously you don't want to do that,
Right.
right? So,
And
or goes out partying. I'm just using examples. So
yeah.
like if you have friends that not don't do that, they actually like set up like business meetings. Like if you want to go on a 7 day business meeting with me, I'm down for that, right? Every day.
Yeah.
So it
Because it
totally
interests you, right? Yeah, it's all ambitions, right? If their ambition is drinking, obviously they're not productive like you are. And
depends.
just to put this in context, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 25, I believe. Yeah. I
25. You
said, believe me, I'm 25. Yeah.
forgot, right?
Yeah.
You're crushing deals like,
I was doing the math in my head.
yeah,
Age is something that I don't take into perspective that
yeah,
much. I know by what is it called? Some age I want to hit some goals, but like
right.
I don't let it hold me down. Like I don't say like, oh, next birthday I'm gonna do that. Next New Year, I'm like I don't like to hold those due date. not due date, like days that I'm reaching up to. And that's why like
Hmm.
I don't take the age as a huge thing for me. I just say, just crush it till you just make it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, you're not letting age come in as a factor. Cause I think if you did, you wouldn't have done nearly as much because you just wouldn't have believed that people would do this. I think in my early 20s, I had this nagging belief that I could never really accomplish much. Like, I realized I bought my first couple properties and then the money kind of ran out. I'm like, well, now I got to wait until I figure out how to make enough money for my job where I save up enough money where I can buy more property.
Yeah.
And then eventually I just realized that that was really stupid and that you can just leverage people's money and borrow and buy and grow your portfolio that way, which I've kind of implemented on my end now. So doing that at 25 is absolutely crazy. What do you do for work on top of all this that you've told us about?
So I do work as a what is it, a full-time developer
Okay.
uh, at a Crown Corporation, and I do work part-time also here and there, depending on what is it called, if I need to make that extra cash flow or not, right?
Okay.
Just because you got to understand, like I am in the Airbnb market, I'm making good cash flow, but I have been only doing it for 2 years. So right now is the time where when I go for a mortgage, they're gonna be like, okay,
Hmm.
he has been doing a business, he's making money, we will give him the mortgage. But
Right.
for this, I was not, right? It was only two
Hmm.
years and it's only my own business. And in the beginning, I didn't start off like registering a
Yeah.
corporation and all that stuff.
So you've
So
registered a corporation now and
correct,
run. Okay, perfect.
running all the cash flow through there. So I can, what is it called, write off the stuff, the expenses and stuff
Yeah,
like that. Even though you can write it off on a sole proprietor, but just
can.
better.
It's good. The good point to bring up is if you're doing something that generates income, it is a good idea to formalize it as a business because the bank will look for a 2-year track record, and if you can't show a clean track record on your tax return for where that money was coming from with a very crisp and concise explanation,
Mhm.
they're not going to count it as income, or they're not going to want to. So great. Yeah, you brought up a couple of really good things. Yeah, the 2-year track record, that's something I've noticed is a big thing. Most banks want to see 2 years of
Mhm.
profit. They're going to take your 2-year average and say that's your income. Do you qualify? And I
100%.
had to go through that ringer. Which is why I always try and keep my income through my companies consistent, like just show it the same on my tax returns, so that hey, every year it's the same answer.
No,
Um,
yeah.
so very smart. So you're hanging on to that job. Do you have thoughts of making a change? And when you say developer first, you mean like a software or
Software.
software developer? Okay. And do you want to hang on to that long term, or you're not sure at the moment?
Not sure right now. I'm just going with the pacing it out, seeing it. Like I like my
Mhm.
job also. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Like it's fun. You get to be around people also, right? And it's
Yeah.
how do I say, the community aspect, where as an
Mhm.
entrepreneur you get sidetracked for sure, right?
Okay.
So
No,
I like
absolutely. I can relate. Yeah, I work from home, so sometimes, yeah, if I don't get out on the road for a while, or if I don't go to site for a while, it gets a little lonely. I have my
no
dog. He's actually somewhere around here.
somewhere around here.
Uh, yeah. Okay. So, getting back to some of the numbers, and then I had some other questions for you. So, all in furniture. I mean, you started talking
So yeah,
mattress, bed spring. Yeah, we got tangent there.
no worries. So I would say mattress, bed, what is it called, side table is like maybe like $50. I'm doing high estimates over here.
And these are all Kijiji, Craigslist, Facebook
Yeah.
Marketplace.
Like the
Yeah.
most expensive things I would like, I buy brand new for the mattress for sure all the time, just because
Okay.
I don't want to deal with bed bugs or anything like that. That's
Smart.
something
Yeah.
you always have to deal with. So the mattress is always brand new. So I would say like my last Airbnb, I set up with plates and everything. Uh, Low estimate, I would say like if you hustled, $700. If you didn't hustle, maybe like $1,200.
Are you kidding me? You're getting a kitchen table, all that stuff too?
Everything. Yeah.
Everything. $700 for a bachelor apartment. This is or studio.
100%. You don't like. I cannot explain to you like what you can find on Kijiji. Like it's like I picked up a table for only $10. That's worth $80.
Yeah.
The only reason why he sold it for what is it called $10 was because he was leaving and he had no place to put it. He's like here's 10. I'm like, it's either you're gonna take it or you're gonna throw it in the garbage, right? Because he was moving that specific day, right?
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong, not everybody's gonna come across these deals, but like I'm saying, like $1,500 to $2,000 is
Yeah.
more than enough. Like that's
Okay.
like you're going at a luxury tangent, right? Like if you're going to
Yeah.
like Struck Tube, not buying from IKEA and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So
Oh, okay. Structube. Yeah. Okay. I've never been there. I've heard about it though.
yeah, Struck Tube
Uh,
is the new, like I would say what people like, the millennium thing where they
the
like the
millennials.
modern. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's their place to shop for furniture, not IKEA anymore, apparently. So
Yeah, IKEA is so frustrating, man. I like IKEA for light fixtures sometimes,
yeah.
but yeah, I used to buy kitchens from IKEA, and the amount of aggravation, I just couldn't deal with them anymore. Like if they
When you say kitchens, you mean like the whole installation
cabinets,
of
yeah,
cabinets? Yeah,
yeah, I'd buy a cabinet. I mean, they're just so horribly unhelpful. They're cheap, yes, but I would argue that there's a good chance that they're going to cost you
yeah.
more in your time if you really do value your time. And as you start getting more productive, you will. Uh,
Hmm.
that was one of those decisions. Eventually, I'm like, okay, I don't want to deal with them. I'm not saying I wouldn't ever again, but
Yeah.
I'd have to be like highly motivated to do that, because you just kind of, you build up connections, you build up experience, you start to realize, okay, well, if I pay a little bit more, I can get way better quality and installed, and it probably saves me money on the back end.
Thanks. And did you
um,
go private or did you go with a different company instead?
I ended up using a contractor,
Oh,
which no one touches their prices. It's crazy. I got quotes from all kinds of people. I'm like,
mhm.
nope, never. I'm never going to use a contractor. And then these guys, they fabricate, they come, they measure, they
Okay.
design, they fabricate, they install. They come to site. They drive an hour and a half to
Wow.
London, where I'm set up. Come down, they install it, they measure it, give me cool designs, and their finishes, the quality is just 10 times better.
That's
So
pretty good. Yeah, man. Like I don't know if I'm gonna be planning to buying real estate in Toronto right now, but like
yeah,
if I do, I don't know if they
yeah.
come down to
Yeah,
Ottawa.
they would come up. They wouldn't come to Ottawa, but yeah, if you're doing anything in my area, just hit me up. I'll help you out.
I wanted to add some things. Like a lot of people like think like the place always have to keep in consideration the main things are gonna be there, like the appliances, right? Those are the most expensive stuff, right? So I'm renting the places. I'm making sure they come with the appliances, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So, and the washroom, there's not much you can do. You're gonna buy just supplies in the washroom, maybe like shower curtain rod and stuff like that, right?
Mm.
Hair dryer and iron and stuff like that. Those are not expensive. If you go to Amazon, $10 to $20 a piece.
So you just
So
buy them new on Amazon, delivered to your
yeah,
door. Just the cheap
the
ones, the Amazon basics.
not even Amazon basics. Sometimes I buy Black and Decker and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's just because it's just convenience that I don't have to leave my house to do it, and I can do it while I'm what is it called
Yeah.
on my way to home, or like I'm walking to home, and I just it's quick tap, and how
Yeah.
Amazon Prime works. And I love their system.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
believer of Amazon.
Yeah. Amazon Express, not a
Yeah,
plug intentionally, but yeah, it saves me so much time. You need this one little thing, and I'm like thinking, when am I ever going to Home Depot to get that?
there
Just not going to.
sometimes I do pay the extra
Yeah.
premium. Like I search, like for example, one thing I buy on Amazon, which is like some people call me stupid, but like I buy deodorant on Amazon. It's just because I pay 50 cents extra, and you
Yeah.
know what? I don't have to like make that trek to Shoppers every month or like every
Absolutely.
month. So it just saves me time, and I'm regardless gonna pay Prime. So
Yeah, you're already paying for Prime. Yeah, the $70 a year, whatever it is, totally worth it. I buy pumpkin seeds on Amazon, just delivered to the door, 1 kilogram bags. Okay, so you're in for like $2,000, and then this is how it gets insane. So $2,000 of investment on the high end, and I know you're less, but say somebody wasn't quite as good at it as you, when you're
mhm,
you're profiting roughly $2,000 a month on average per property, that's $24,000 a year
yeah,
divided by $2,000 a year. And this is where it's almost anticlimactic, because people are just
mhm.
like, that number doesn't make sense. So $24,000 over 2,000, your your return on investment is 12 times. So not a
It's a lot.
percentage. You are smashing 100% return 12 times
Wow.
on
Yeah.
your
Like I
money.
haven't
Yeah.
looked at it that way. Like I see how like you broke it down into a year. Like for
Yeah.
me, I my way of is I'm whatever profit I'm supposed to make the first month is gonna go towards the
Yeah.
furniture. That's my number. Sometimes I work backwards with it. Like for example, I look at a property, I'm like, okay, this property should make me 1,500 to 2,000, maybe three thousand
Yeah.
dollars a month, right?
Yeah.
And my cap should be $3,000. So the first month goes for
Yeah.
basically I make no money, I do all the work, but
Hmm.
after that I'm going to be making money every month. So that's how I divide it.
Yeah. So you look at it as a payback. 12 times, that's 1,200%. In your payback, yeah, absolutely. Your payback is approximately a month, uh, maybe less, depending on how much you're investing, right? If you're only in for 1,000 and you're profiting 2,000,
Yeah.
boom, you're paying back in half a month. That's great. Yeah. So 12 times your investment back in 1 year, well worth it. Now, we're not factoring in your time, and that's hard to quantify, right? Everybody values their time differently,
Hmm.
which, I mean, when you're starting out, just like when I was starting out in investing, like I was down on the site, I was in the trenches. I'd even sleep on the site, when we were renovating the house, just to keep an eye on things. And when you know less, you have to overcompensate with your time.
100%. Yeah.
That's
Like when I first started, I was putting in crazy hours doing research, finding out what is it called, how to do this, how to do that, and all this stuff. Like, I'm not going to lie, I put in a good
Mhm.
amount of hours per day. Like I was working 18-hour days per day. I used to work
Yeah,
9 to 5, 5 to 12, or 5 to 2, whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Like sleep was not one of my, what is it called,
Priorities.
priorities at that point. So I was putting it inside.
But if you're excited about what you do, it's almost like not
Right.
like work, right? You see it working, and then all of a sudden now it's like, wow, I'm happy to do that. Who needs sleep? What sort of things can people do to automate this?
Uh, Cleaners. You can also get like co-hosts. Like some of my places in Toronto, because I'm not there all the time, right? I'm based in Ottawa. Is you can get people to co-host with you. In there, you over there. You can either do profit sharing, so that they actually take care of the whole apartment. You just help them with the setup. In that
Oh,
way,
okay.
that's the best automation I have ever done myself.
Mhm.
Is co-hosting. Is I got a friend. He's like, I'm like, okay, listen, I'm gonna help you set up the whole process. After that, you just give me 50% of the profits, or sometimes I go a little less just because I'm not gonna be doing any of the work anymore, right?
Okay.
So
So
I
you'll
go.
take less than 50%?
Sometimes I do take less. Yeah, depends on
Okay.
what kind of friend he is, or if it's like just a business part strictly, I do
Yeah.
50%. Just
Yeah.
because like I'm bringing so much value on the table. Just because without me, he would not be able to make as much as he
Absolutely.
would, right? So I
Yeah.
think it's worth it in that way, 50%, because I go in maybe 3 months with him, set up everything, and he asks me questions here and there whenever he needs me, and I'm getting collecting 15%, 50%, 50% every month, right? So
Mhm.
that's the best automation system, but there is less automation systems where you can do it with friends and family, or like,
Yeah.
for example, if you have people who don't like to do a job or nothing, they're just lazy people, and be like, listen, I'm gonna pay you $25 for 1 hour, just go clean, and that's
Yeah.
it. And some people just wanna be on their phone all day, be like, just reply
Mhm.
to my guests. It takes 5 to 10 minutes, right? It's not that. And at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you are on the back burner. Like it's like a CEO of anything. Like you are the firefighter, and you are the one in the weeds also, right? So you can't be
Yeah.
afraid to go all the way down
Yeah.
and go all the way up, right? So
Right. Yeah. Set it up to work, but keep an eye on it. I think that's important. Like you don't want to just like remove yourself because if they're doing a bad job cleaning, you're going to hear about it. If they're doing a bad job, yeah. And I mean that's another episode talking about how you deal with negative reviews or if that happens. I mean you
yeah,
can't please everybody. It's bound to happen.
yeah,
It's just part of the business. So
yeah.
okay, so that's interesting. Now here's the golden question. Give us a little bit of a story or tell us a little bit about how you negotiated your first deal with a landlord that let you agreeably let you
Yeah.
rent the apartment from him or her and then go re-rent it on Airbnb. How did you make that happen?
So let's be honest. Everybody, whenever you go to any person who's renting to you, renting a place to you, they're gonna say no right away if you say Airbnb, right? So like people are very negative about it for some reason. Just like Uber or just like any other new platform of sharing that's coming up, people are just very not. They don't trust the system, right? So
Hmm.
slowly, like right now, like who would know? 16 years back, some guy who's a businessman would ask their 16-year daughter to get into a car with a stranger in it, right? It would be ludicrous, right? So now
Yeah.
you come 16 years forward or 10 years forward, and we see this happening, right? So just like Airbnb, like there are people who are comfortable with it. They're gonna be like, yeah, man, just go do whatever you want. I just want my rent at the end of the day. And some people are like, no, right? So when it comes to convince the person, it is I see like you got to show your track record, right?
Okay.
It's like, for example, when you go into a business with somebody, they want to know that you know what you're doing. One,
Okay.
number two, as you have a track record to prove them that what you are doing is working, right?
Okay.
So some of these people who are renting to me sometimes is like, listen, I don't want to rent it to you, but teach me and I'll do it myself. I'm like, okay, you know what, that's fine with me, and I'll take a percentage cut off it right there, right?
Okay.
So those are some things that I do, but like the best is to show your track record. Like you should tell them,
Yeah.
here, look at my Airbnb account. I'm a super host, 5-star rating. I all look at all my reviews. People love my place. It's clean. So the reviews speak for what your work is, right? Like, and
Yeah.
some of the things that you can tell them is, listen, if you have a tenant in your house, that tenant may be lazy and not clean your place and not make sure what
Right.
is it called, things are getting cleaned all the time, right? For me, I need to make sure the place is clean every day, right?
Right.
And there is people say there is more wear in that situation because of your Airbnb. I would say it's less wear, just because think about it. How many people do actually use the kitchen when they actually stay for an Airbnb? Like
Yeah.
90% of the time, nobody uses it. I have that 1 or 10% people use the
Hmm.
kitchen, maybe, or they use the stove as like what is it called, a plate holder, or like to eat food off it, right? So I see there's less wear in the apartment in
Yeah.
terms of Airbnb, but yes, you have to keep doing it every day. It's like a grind. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Whereas as a tenant, you put it in and you are like you don't think about it, right?
So do
So
you have a lot of answers for people? Like you have your sales pitch, and then you know the objections, and you have
yeah,
an answer and a response
yeah,
for them. Can we
100%.
role play?
Oh, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So you be you, and I'm a landlord that you want to rent my place. Okay.
Yeah, but I have to be very honest with you. Sometimes you just got to walk away with a no, also. So it's a numbers
Okay.
game, okay?
No,
So
I'm just curious. I won't be the worst. I won't be the worst.
no worries, no worries. I'm like, hey Andrew, how's it going? Your apartment looks really nice. I like it. I was wondering what's the rent you're charging. So I hope by getting the numbers.
Oh, oh, you didn't see the listing? I think I had it up there for 1500.
1,500. Is the price negotiable, or is it just you're set on the price? And is it all inclusive?
No, I usually don't do all inclusive, and yeah, I'm pretty confident that I'll get that. But
1,500, right? So listen, I don't know if you're comfortable with short-term living and Airbnb. I don't know if you heard of that. Have you got a chance to look around and stuff like that?
yeah, I've heard of Airbnb. I just never really, never really got into it. It sounds like it's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, for sure. That's 100%. Like I've been doing it for the last 2 years, and I have experience in that. I know like $1,500 is what you're looking for. What if I like add an extra $200 per month just because I wanna, what is it called, Airbnb your place, and I know there's a lot of upside in it. So like if you're interested in it, I can teach you how to do it, or we can do it together. Sorry, I can do it myself, and I just pay you the rent. And I can show you the track record I have. Here's my listings that I have over here in Ottawa and Toronto, and you can
Mhm.
see how I have like 5-star ratings. I'm a super host, and I'm doing
Mhm.
everything. Like if you have any questions, I can answer them also. But
Okay.
in terms of what is it called, a lot of people think Airbnb is going to ruin your place and stuff like that. I give you the right to take pictures of the whole apartment, send it in a file to me. If anything happens, I cover the damages for you when we walk in and walk out as inspection.
So you're
So
gonna pay me an extra $200 a month on top of what I'm asking, and you're gonna keep my place in perfect condition, is what you're saying.
yes, and I'm gonna
Okay.
leave it the way that is, right? So
Yeah. So we'll end the role play there. I wasn't trying. I was intentionally not being too hard on you because I just wanted
okay,
to see what you go through.
I
I
was
mean,
just trying to push over here
yeah,
also. Like the $200,
yeah,
I wouldn't pull it off in the beginning. I'll
yeah.
do it at the end, but I didn't know what kind of person you are.
Yeah, how hard it was going to be. I thought
Yeah,
about it, but I just kind of wanted to see where you'd go. I think that there are some people who'd be like, "Oh no, I don't want Airbnb my place," and then you'd have to say, "Well, sure. Are you sure? There's a way. It's actually better, right? What would you say? Like, oh no, I don't want Airbnb my place. Yeah, I know what that is. No way.
yeah. Like I have a lot of people who say that right away, and I just try to like the money aspect. I bring in the last because think about it.
Yeah,
That's a recurring
you don't
payment.
want to do that. No, you
No,
want to keep that close to your. That's
close to the
so,
end. Like
do you ask why? You say, "Oh, sir,
like
well,
I
why?"
ask why. I try to build a report. So like my way of thinking is before I go see the listing, I build a report. Like it's like buying anything on Kijiji. When I was young, I learned this thing is like you ask a bunch of questions because you got to make sure the person is invested in you. It's like a
Okay.
mindset. So once he's already invested in you, he invested the time to come show you the place. He invested in you for like maybe 2-3 days answering all your questions. In his mind, he already has the place rented. And now he's
Oh,
thinking about what he's going to do with the money.
so you don't tell them it's Airbnb. Like you get there, you
No.
meet them.
Correct. Yeah, just because
Yeah,
think about it. If I tell somebody I'm going to do something in their house and they're not comfortable with that, I'm not going to say it over the, what is it called,
the phone.
text
Yeah,
message because I don't know
yeah,
what kind of person he is, what report is, how open he is, right?
yeah.
People's comfort level over text is very small, whereas in person, when they meet me, when they see a
Hmm.
face, when they can relate to it, they can like hold something against somebody. Or online, like we have so many people trolling people. You're just like,
Yeah.
who is this guy? Like, I don't care who you are, right?
So you're a real person once you're there. So you just say, "Hey, could I see the place?" And then they're okay. Like if they directly asked you, of course you would probably tell them, but it doesn't come up. So you get there in person. Now they've invested time in you. Now all of a sudden you've got their ear, and heck, you can pull out your phone and say, "Hey, here's my account. I'm a super host. I
Mhm.
take excellent care of my properties, and I
100%.
consider yours mine, and I treat it like it's mine." Like wow, like if you got your sales pitch out, man, could you ever crush some deals? And you are, obviously. So
Yeah.
that's pretty impressive, Sammy.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing, the big landlord resistance. What about somebody starting off though? I mean, if you don't have the track record.
So if you don't have the tracker, if you're starting off, it's a little bit tough. I'm not gonna lie, but
Mhm.
it doesn't mean you can't. Like over there, you can use the money aspect, right? Or over there, you can leverage somebody else's account, right?
Mhm.
So, like for example, when people come in with me, I
Mhm.
co-host with them so they can leverage my account, right? You can use me
So,
as a person.
so they say,
But
oh, here's Sammy's account. Here's my business partner's account. We have excellent reviews.
there we go, right?
So there,
So
you're leveraging somebody else's experience.
or
Yeah.
you just don't have to do that. Like for example, I own a apartment in one of the condos in Ottawa, and they allow Airbnb in the condo. And I started going to the rental people who are renting out in the same condo,
Mm-hmm.
and some people are comfortable with it, some people are not comfortable with it, right? So
Yeah.
it just when you can make that rapport first, and then make that connection of I'm a landlord also, I know how you
Yeah.
feel, right? So that is like the strongest connection. Like
Yes.
sometimes, like before I was a landlord also, I was still making that connection kind
Yeah.
of thing, because I was a landlord of a student rental, but I didn't, like,
Yeah.
I used it a little bit in my advantage.
You find some commonalities. Yeah.
There we go. You find the
Mhm.
commonalities, and you just gotta, like, what is it called, make them feel comfortable. Comfort zone is
Yeah.
something very important when it comes to like one-on-one sales. And like I do not have by any means a sales background or anything. I just learned
Yeah.
as we go. And as you said, you listen to a lot of audiobooks and stuff like that. I would say like I listen to podcasts every day.
Same.
I
Yeah.
subtracted music from my life.
Yeah.
I don't watch movies. I don't watch Netflix. I just listen to podcasts, and
Yeah.
sometimes motivational. But the only like music would be maybe at the gym. That's it. Like if I'm doing cardio,
Yeah.
I know you can run to podcasts, but like it kind of gets boring. Okay.
No, I won't do that. I've tried that too. Yeah. Yeah. Lately, I don't watch Netflix, but I do edit podcasts. I do that. I listen and edit them.
And listen,
Um,
yeah,
one day I'll have to automate that a little bit, but I find that, the pure gold, like if I'm going to cut something out, or which I'm trying to like, not, I'm trying to do these just like
as
as they
raw.
are, right? It's just like, yeah, starting optimizing the audio, because I really like wanted these to be like, above average, right? When somebody hears it, just say, wow, that was well done. So uh, eventually I'll figure a way to automate some of that work. But yeah, I mean, it's just about hustling, right? Just like you're doing. Like if you see value in something, you hustle and you get it done. And that's great, man. It's been a real pleasure, kind of hearing your story. I'm sure there are people that are going to have questions for you.
For sure.
So for those who would like to get in touch and kind of learn more about what it is you're doing, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Best way would be Instagram. What is it called? Recently, because of the high interest of people just asking me how to do it, how to do it, how to do it. Like there's more like I can scale to people.
Yeah.
So I came up with a course. My course name is Proven BNB Course. You can search it on Google, or you can go to my Instagram. It's called Proven BNB Course, and you
Okay.
can send me a DM there, and I'll be happy to help you guys.
Okay. So proven B&B course on Instagram, probably be the easiest one. Okay. Great. Well, Sammy, so a couple of things, dream vacation,
It's a good one. I haven't thought about a vacation. I haven't taken one in a while, but it would be somewhere in what is it called, the Bahamas.
somewhere in Bahamas.
Yes.
Okay.
You
Favorite
know those
music.
small huts that like right in the middle of the water? Like you see those pictures and I'm like, I want to go there one day.
They have that in Bahamas. I thought that was
Is it Bahamas or
Tahiti.
Marissa?
I
What?
think are you thinking Bora Bora?
Maybe Bora Bora, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've been seeing is a friend of mine that's there right now, and it
Okay.
is insane. I got to go there. Yeah, so I'm with you on that one. Okay. What's your favorite music?
I don't listen to music, so I don't
No
have
music.
no
Podcasts.
like a podcast, right? Like I listen to music, but like I just put
Yeah.
like anything on just for when I do cardio, but
Yeah.
without that, no.
No.
Don't that much
Favorite
music.
hobby.
I don't know. Like I don't think I have I'm a person who has a hobby. I just like work a lot, like
Just like
work,
making deals. Just getting
making
deals done.
deals, crushing it. Like meeting
Yeah.
new people. I would say like meeting people is one of my hobbies, just because I
Yeah.
get to meet new people, interact, and you learn a lot, man. Like for me, like just this introduction from you, I've learned like a lot from you, from
Yeah.
going through your podcast, and maybe talking to you. I got
Yeah.
maybe a new contact, right? So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
the network of hobbies that you start building.
Investor world is a small world. I know it seems big, but it's like funny the people I talk to are like, yo, you know this guy? I'm like, yeah, I know that guy. Like, I don't know him, but I follow him,
Yeah, that's
Um, Yeah, no, I'm glad to have you in my network, and let's stay in touch. And I know we haven't met in person. This is the first one I've actually done where we didn't do it in person, but
Mhm.
you're a little bit far removed from me, so proven concept now. So thanks for working with me on this.
No
And
worries.
Sammy, we'll talk again soon. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me on the show also, Andrew.
Just to wrap up, I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did enjoy being a part of it. Sammy is one impressive guy at 24 years old. That is absolutely insane what he's doing, how much he's making doing it, and it should definitely serve as an inspiration for those of you who are looking to push it to the next level. If you're interested in getting in touch with me, you can reach me on Instagram at the Andrew Hines. So the Andrew Hines. My last name is Hines. And wherever you are, please subscribe. Please leave me a rating. 5 stars would be greatly appreciated, and a review or a comment would be very helpful in helping to spread the word on this one. Want to get this out into more people's hands. I know there's this tight-knit investor community out there. I'd like to expand it. Let's expand the network, expand the number of people that we can connect with, and I hope that you do find this information helpful. So thanks again. We'll see you on the next one.